You know what changes? Everything. Times change. Technology changes. People change. Sometimes it seems overnight. You can resist it. You can adapt to it. But you can't ignore it. Our thinking is to lead it by changing the way we work, changing the way expectations are met, leading clients and the practice of law forward. You know what that changes? Everything.
Hi, and welcome to Take 5 with the Top 50, the video interview series where we speak to Atlantic Business Magazine's 2020 Top 50 CEOs. In just 5 questions, we try to find out what makes them successful, what their thoughts are on topical issues, and essentially, what makes them tick. I am Dawn Chafe. I am the co-owner and executive editor of Atlantic Business Magazine. Today, I am joined by the president and CEO of Halifax International Airport Authority, Joyce Carter. Joyce, thanks so much for joining me.
Certainly, COVID-19 has impacted, you're absolutely right, the aviation industry and business dramatically. It hit really fast and it hit really hard. And when I think back to last year, to 2020, really the airport was set to have yet again a record-breaking year. We actually had a wonderful January and February. Our projections were exceeding our plan. And then COVID hit. And I mean, COVID hit everyone and really has caused what I like to say is a collapse in the aviation industry. So when you think about your airport, Halifax Stanfield, we would have served in 2020 or planned to serve 46 destinations. 17 air carriers were going to fly those destinations. And if I were to put up the map today, which really does tell quite a stark picture and difference, we today serve 4 destinations, so 4 domestic, St. John's, Montreal, Ottawa, St. John's, Montreal, Toronto, and Calgary, and that is served only by 2 carriers. And we would normally, in a good year, process 4.2 million passengers. We just released our 2020 statistics, and last year we served under 1 million passengers. People say to me, when did you last serve, 1 million passengers? And so we went back, we took a look. That was 1972. And so to put that in context, in 1972, the other Trudeau was prime minister, and you were allowed to smoke on flights. A reporter said that to me, and I thought, you're right, that is certainly a long time ago. And we knew early. I mean, we knew it was going to hit our business quick, and we knew it was going to hit it hard. And, when I think about the day that I started to repeat the Premier's message to stay home, never in my career, I've been here 20 years, never in my career would I have thought that we'd be telling, people not to travel, but it's absolutely what we had to do for the health and safety of our employees, for the health and safety of our community, and obviously for the passengers that were required to travel for essential reasons. So when you think about the travel journey, if you're booking a flight, you think about every part of that journey when you do that booking, right from, the ticket you book by air to your transition through the airport, your flight, your connections, your destination, ultimately your ground transportation, and say your hotel at your final destination. Consumer confidence on every part of that journey because of COVID-19 has been questioned. And so when you book a flight, you want to know every part of that now because of COVID is going to be as seamless as it possibly can be. And with restrictions and travel measures and quarantines changing quickly, you can only imagine how hesitant folks are to book travel, and rightfully so for the health reasons. So one of the things we did here at Halifax Stanfield last year is in assessing our role in that, not only our role in the community, but our role in your travel journey, is we very quickly thought, what can we do to ensure that we are being as health and safety as we can in our facility? So we did a passenger expectation survey, and from that we learned some things quickly, and we made some changes quickly within our terminal building. We knew right away that folks wanted to be sure they were being distanced in the terminal building, that we had proper cleaning protocols in place, that we had lots of hand sanitizing stations. 86% of folks who responded to that survey told us that they knew that we were going to take the right measures to ensure that they were safe in our facility, and that helps build consumer confidence. So those measures were put in place. We feel really great that we're in a good place there for when it's the right time for consumers to travel. But one thing I'll just mention, because it touches on consumer confidence, is testing and is the vaccines. And so testing is going to be a big part of restarting air travel and of ensuring that people feel really confident in their journey. And so what we'd like to see here at Halifax Stanfield, and would like to see in the industry, is a consistent testing regime, so that when you as a traveler know what tests will be available to you, when you have to take them, how they fit into your travel experience. People will say to me, well, won't the vaccinations make all that go away? We look at it as a layered approach, and so that every piece of that journey and the confidence to build up to be required to travel again is going to be layered. So the masking, the distancing, the testing along the way, we would welcome arrivals testing at Halifax Stanfield. We're working with the province on that. And as well, vaccinations. It will take a long time for everyone to be vaccinated. And so in order to regain consumer confidence, we would like to be part of that solution. We would like to ensure that testing is done prior to what is called herd immunity. And your question around back to pre-COVID travel levels, again, this sometimes shocks people when I say this. The earliest that we're predicting that we'll be back to the levels that we saw in 2019 is by the end of 2024, and perhaps even into 2025. It's not a matter of carriers pulling services and then just reinstating them as soon as people start to travel again. How demand will grow is unknown. No one really knows. We've not been through a pandemic before, and carriers will very carefully reinstate service based on where that demand is. Certainly, they won't have the aircraft available to them that they did prior to the pandemic. It will be a long time before we see us back to the levels. So we're anticipating 2024 or later before we see 2019. $3.8 billion, 5,600 jobs on site. So this is something that we study annually. Each year, we commission an external report to look at the economic impact of Halifax Stanfield on the province of Nova Scotia. So the last full report was done for the year 2019. So these are certainly pre-pandemic numbers. And the results of that report showed that Halifax Stanfield, as you pointed out in your question, contributes $3.8 billion annually to the economic output in Nova Scotia and directly employs, so that's right here on site, 5,600 jobs. When you think about the work that we do, we're so much of a facilitator and an enabler. And so these are, this output is relating to things like tourism. Almost $1 billion of that number annually is tourism. It is relating to trade. It is relating to direct investment. It is relating to the businesses that are here on site that contribute to the economic growth in Nova Scotia. Take a company like IMP or a company like Jazz and think about their impact here in Nova Scotia. And they're located at Halifax Stanfield. When I mention tourism, I'll just add one point on tourism is the study shows that tourists who arrive in Nova Scotia by air stay longer and spend more. And so if you're coming by air, you're more apt to stay a longer period of time, and your contribution to the economy through, your hotel spend, your restaurants, the tours that you do, is almost double of what it is from a tourist arriving by land. So there's where the airport is significant in terms of its economic generation to the provincial economy. I referenced in an earlier question the fact that we're an economic enabler. So when you think about connecting family and friends, when you think about welcoming new immigrants to Nova Scotia, the local businesses that are here that need those business to business connections, are great exporters who want to get fresh seafood to market in less than 24 hours. The tourism that I spoke to previously, all of this takes place at Halifax Stanfield and supports the economic development. So when you think about that vision of being able to create those jobs, to support the economic development, this is the vision I see for Halifax Stanfield. I've always seen that for Halifax Stanfield. And it's actually really easy to get the employees and the workers here behind that, because everybody who works here, the 5,600 employees that are here, play a really important part in enabling that vision. Whether you're cleaning the snow off the runway, you're packing lobster onto a flight that just has landed and needs to turn around in 4 hours, whether you're the parking attendant as people are coming home or arriving to go on a family trip, everybody can help contribute to that vision. And, how I sort of engage, how we engage and ensure everybody gets behind it is through some really great communication efforts, and in creating the vision, creating the mission, thinking about the values, who we are, ensuring that we're constantly engaging with our community, because we're such an enabler. That vision, I really would say, is not my vision. That's the vision of the community. We have stakeholders that nominate to our organization. We have employees here that are in their communities and see their neighbors, their friends being part of these businesses. And that really is the vision of the entire community. We're in a really challenging time right now with COVID-19. As you know, the future continues to remain really uncertain, but I am really confident that we'll get through these extremely challenging times. Positivity is such an important thing to me, just being able to constantly celebrate those small wins when you get them. And our organization, our employees, our community are going to be here at the other end of this, and we can't wait to welcome people back when the time is right. It's funny, I often get asked, who inspires me? And I find that a really tough question to answer. When I think about who I am, who I've become, how I lead, and think about my journey to the role as CEO at Halifax International Airport Authority, I find it really difficult to pinpoint just one sort of person who shaped who I have become. I often think about, and I won't name because I don't want to embarrass anyone, but I think about leaders in organizations I've worked for, past leaders on our board. I think about leaders within the community, the not-for-profit sector that I've worked with. All of these people have really inspired me to be who I am and to lead the way I do. I even think about my family. My mom and dad ran a small business that I got to see when I grew up and played a significant role within their community in rural Cape Breton. My mom is still with us today, so fortunate for that. And I think about how she's been through so much, but how she is just so positive, even with COVID, as a senior. I think about my kids and how they approach situations and how much I can learn from them. When I think about past leaders on our board and think about the connections that I've been able to make through them in areas such as immigration within Nova Scotia. And I think about the chairs I've worked with, those who have said to me, be true to yourself, lead with your heart, go with your gut in some instances. You won't have all the information, as we've learned through COVID, to make decisions. It changes on a dime. These are really the people who have shaped me to be who I am and to cause me to lead the way I do.